This first workstation is called the Safe Sleep Environment Station. And what we're doing is having a simulated sleep environment where we have a baby and we have a pillow and we have a blanket and we have a few items here that are with the baby. And so what our goal is to determine what is a safe environment and what's not a safe environment. But in order to do that, remember we were talking earlier about the fact that we were going to give you some ideas of ways to talk about this with clients and people that you encounter. How we're going to work that is we're going to look at some scenarios here. And the scenario is going to tell us what we're going to talk about with this sleep environment. So for example, say group number 1 is here, and you've got your 4 people here, then one person at a time will take their paper and they will read it.
You have a table at a powwow. Show us how you could use this activity in that setting.
Okay, so she reads it, in group number 1, first person reads it, and so it is her job then to pretend that she's at a powwow and that she's, it's a health exhibit at a powwow. And so she's going to talk about what it is that would make for a safe sleep environment. Or one of the things that we like to do is we like to set up the environment and just say to the people who gather around us, so what's not right about this environment? What do you notice that might not be the safest? So as the person whose task this is to do this scenario, you may want to do that. You may want to say, this is what it looks like. Is this good? Would you change anything about it? And then the people in the group with her are going to change what would be, the items that wouldn't be in a safe sleep environment. And then the next person is going to take the next scenario and going to read it, and then she's going to do it, and on and on.
Yeah. So if I was a new mom bringing my baby home, I would try to comfort the baby and pick her up, try to soothe her, comfort her. I would clean out her bed because do you sleep with things in your bed?
Yeah.
You do sleep with bottles and pacifiers in your bed? I don't think the baby would think that was very comfortable. I would try to clear that out. And babies don't really need pillows as they sleep. They don't need that support on their back. So I would just try to calm my baby, get her to stop crying, maybe burp her, maybe she has a tummy ache. And I would wrap my baby. I would have her in some warm pajamas. Try to soothe her, have her in warm pajamas, and just lay her flat on her back in her bed after she's asleep. And you would be surprised on how much better she's going to sleep.
Okay. And so the idea is to be able to begin to talk about it, and pretend like, for example, so she's the health educator at the powwow. She's showing you 3 of you gals, say you're teenage gals, walk up to the table and you're going, oh, baby, oh, isn't that cool? It's, what are you doing here? And then she says, well, here's what we're doing here. Then the 3 of you begin to ask questions, act as if you are the teenagers that walk up, so that you can be having an interaction, so that some of the questions that might come up in a real situation, you can begin to discuss with one another. But also, in addition, on your table will be the key points for safe sleep environment and workstation, the play yard. And so each of you will get one of these papers, and these are yours to take with you. And so as you begin the little exercise, you might just want to read this over, get an idea of what it is that you're talking about here. Or you might not want to read it over, and you might just leave that till the end, and then after you do your exercise for about 15, 18 minutes per station, then afterwards, together, you might want to review this and say, how'd we do? And you as the leader in this case might be reading this and say, well, this is how you did. So this is called the Safe Sleep Message Station. This is an item that was produced, actually it was produced in Michigan by one of the Healthy Start nurses that was in the project that I was working with. And it is very low technology and very easy to do. And as a matter of fact, you can get copies of these pages and have them laminated just like this, punch the hole, and voila, you're ready to go. So this is a really good tool to take into homes for those of you who are doing home visits or even small clinics. This is a really, really slick, quick, easy situation here. So this is just a simple Q&A. How do you make sleep safer for babies? So again, we have the scenarios again. So the first person will take out her scenario, will read the story, and it might say, you are teaching a teen pregnancy class. Let's just say that's the scenario. So she sits with her gals and she says, how do you make sleep safer for babies? And the other three in the group give her answers. You know, come up with answers. And then after you've exhausted some of the answers, on the back is A, by providing a safe sleep environment that addresses these issues: sleep position, sleep location, sleep surface, sleep area, sleep temperature.
Okay, question 5. Why should the baby's sleep area be in the same room where others sleep?
The baby has a bond with its mom.
Bonding.
So you can be attentive to the child.
Be attentive.
Be easier for her to breastfeed than put the baby back in its own bed.
Pretty simple, straightforward. The idea of this particular one, for me, is that it's not wordy, it's not complicated, it's just pretty straightforward. You know? How do you make it safer? By these things. Okay, so what we're going to do again is when we rotate after about 15-20 minutes, then you decide who goes first again. Take your scenario, sit in a circle or stand around, however you want to do it, and this is what you'll work with. Okay, and I think there's somewhere in the range of a dozen pages or so. This tends to be one of the most interactive stations, because we're talking about the continuum. Now, you probably remember when we began the whole session here, we talked about the idea of risk reduction, right? Reducing the risk of infant death, and what things reduce risk and what things increase risk. And on this continuum, you're going to place these little cards. They have Velcro on the back, and there's Velcro strips up there. And so, baby placed to sleep on its back, dressed in sleep clothing. Where do you think this might go? Reduce risk? Okay. And then you decide if it goes sort of all the way over this way or heading towards neutral or what. And we'll just put it there for now. So you put that up there. And the really interesting thing about this one is you have a conversation. You may think it goes here, but you may think it goes here. And then you have a conversation about why. You are already dealing with a clientele that is at risk. So they already get some points for being at risk. So take that into consideration. When LaShawna gives an answer, she might think something goes, here in the reducing risk, or let me say, Natasha might think it goes here, but you might think it goes there because so talk about that and help each other understand this whole thing about continuum. Because this is the place where we try to help our clients understand that they're smart, they care about their babies, they want their babies to live, but what's the best ways to reduce risk so that the babies don't die accidentally?
So let's talk about the dangers of having you as the parent and the child with your other children in the bed.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah.
And then having the risk of other children move, other children kick, and having a new baby in the bed, well, that's just not safe.
Right.
And then having the family dog in there
In the
as well.
same bed, yeah.
You're leading to the dog possibly suffocating the child.
And you don't have to use all of these pictures because there's some that are redundant. In fact, at the beginning, you might even want to pick out a few and say, these are the ones we really want to work with. And once again, you've got some risk continuum scenarios. But frankly, I think just working with these cards and this chart right off the bat, even without getting into the scenario right off the bat, is a really good way to begin the conversations. And hopefully you'll get into some of those conversations with like, well, Grandma smokes and we live with Grandma and she's the elder and we know that smoking is not healthy for our baby, but she is dedicated to her smoking and she loves us too. What do we do?